Good morning, everyone. This is Joko. I'm an English instructor at a school here in Yangon, Myanmar, where we have yet to have any type of COVID coronavirus problems, but it is going to be some of my clients. One of our customers has decided to ask us to teach them online. So I'll be doing online instruction for the first time ever. Well, first time to actual classes. I've been doing this for a year now, and I'm comfortable in front of a green screen. I know what to do, but I'm learning too at the same time. So these IELTS papers that I do for random people have been helpful. So why am I doing this? That's why. Okay, so here we are in the waiting feedback section of the group. And this is at Facebook. If you want to join it, you can just go to Facebook and search IELTS Tips and Tricks. It's the largest of the groups of this nature, and one of several with the same name. When you tag your posts, consider using this tag. Where is it? How do I move this thing? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Tag it with waiting feedback. And then that's here. Make it easier to spot. And so Amadeus has another task 1, but we've done several of his. Why are you just working on task 1, Abram? I know it's important, but not the only thing. So we go down here until we find one that no one has commented on. I've commented on that. Okay, and we come to this one here. We have some comments. Andy Berry. Who's he? Andy Berry? Oh. Hi, Andy. Yes. And this question I've commented on already, where it is argued that rich countries should provide some welfare, for poor states suffering from the impact of... Oh, no, that's your answer. The question is, wealthy nations should assist poorer countries with humanitarian relief during natural disasters. Who would disagree with that? I mean, come on. Every nation, regardless of, well, you see my response. And again, I just wrote that, not because it was my opinion, but to see what an essay from the other side would look like. Can you make arguments disagreeing with this statement? Well, you can. That's sort of the point of IELTS, is to see, well, first your English writing ability, but also something to your academic mentality. And in the academic world, you can argue anything. There is no truth. Well, that any point can be looked at rationally and decided not upon some universal right and wrong or ethics, morality, but more upon logic and thinking. And this is the reasoned thing to do when we are asked what to do. I think my main point in posting that piece about taking the other side, taking the less popular side, is not that you should do that or that you should argue something you don't believe. No, that wasn't it. It's more, the important thing with this kind of question is that when the answer is, of course I agree. Who wouldn't? It's obvious. Can you present positions that are well supported and not, that are supported by reasons and examples and not just, well, of course, and not just, well, that's the way things are. Let's find out if Uchekuku Uzuga Chikoke Usai from Nigeria can do that. Of course, I always check out the person I'm going to look at. And she had this graphic on her profile, and I thought it was cute. Here for my audience of 10 people. Yes, thank you. These aren't seen by a lot of people. And you know what? When you have 10 people, you don't have to take a shower before doing the video. I just woke up. I'm trying to get these done fast. so I can do more of them. Okay, so I'm recording now, right? See, where did it go? Okay, so we had a bit of a glitch. Let me explain quickly here. All right. It is argued by some welfare assist. No, welfare is not a synonym with aid. Okay, relief. What is relief? Okay, although we provide for means take into account or plan in advance. Provide to is what you want here, I think. Yes, and these are examples of natural disasters. But what about tsunamis, hurricanes, or there's more than just these three. Here, they can afford it. Who are they? It will be a service to humanity. You use will in this instance if it was obviously a first conditional structure, a real future event. And if it happens, it will be a service to humanity. I would rather just go with is a service to humanity. Or if it's an unreal situation, then you'd say would be. Firstly, a lot of people don't like firstly because it's usually used in spoken English. Material resources. Now that material resources, you're putting that there because you know the word. Material resources means things like, coal, natural resources, and as opposed to money. Always available to them? Okay, whatever you say. Most times, these extra funds are used for frivolities. Now, this is should be your topic sentence. Have a lot of material resources. But then here you say, these extra funds. Well, extra funds are not material resources. Material is physical. Funds are monetary resources, financial resources. Most times are used for frivolities? What? It's a pretty broad statement, and you don't really support it. In fact, you then say, these nations, what nations, can accommodate donations. Donations is when you and I do it, not when countries do it. To the needy countries. Which ones? It's not a clear reference there. In their expenditures. You see what I mean about pronouns? These, their, not clear. Now, making a budget for. Good collocation. Make a budget. Yes. However, the thing about a disaster is it's not planned. We don't really make that's not the point. We don't make a budget to give emergency aid. For them, who? Well, most likely, okay, so now, most likely not stop them. But why most likely not instead of won't? Because if it does keep them from carrying out their basic financial responsibilities, what's that? That's a big problem. If you can't feed your own people, why are you giving aid to others? But point is that it's another example of basic financial responsibilities. Good language, good vocabulary, but not used in this circumstance. We don't use basic financial responsibilities to talk about government. We use it for families and people. For instance, now, when you give an example, it needs to be an example of the point that you made, the position that you took immediately before it. So here, budget will not likely keep them from carrying out basic financial responsibilities. For instance, the $25 million given to Haiti after the earthquake in 2002 represented less than 0.1% of the budget of the United States, or something like that, about it not being a lot of money to a big country. Instead, you're talking about frivolities, which is all the way back here. Okay? Does that need an example? It sure does. That, for instance, needs to be up there, not here. Okay, and this is actually your point is not very strong here. Overseas trips, it's part of their job to go overseas. It's not their frivolity. And vacations, are they spending government money on their vacations? Get arrested for that. Fine. Times Daily? What Times Daily? Let's find out about these people. They need to go in jail. $100 million. Not a lot of money. Okay. All right. Now your second point is, secondly, this is your thesis, your topic sentence for your other position, for your other point. Namely that it's a service to humanity. Okay. Now, in this paragraph, you stay on that topic, but I think the first thing that you need to define is, what is a service to humanity? Well, nothing's obvious. You need to explain terms that you're going to use. Service to humanity. What does that mean? Why is that a good thing? Why should we care about a service to humanity? Why is that important? And then this grammatically, well, I suppose I should do that at the same time. Oh yeah, I can. I can actually, yeah, I can do, okay, all right. So, act of kindness cannot be overemphasized. You see the grammar error here? An act of kindness, and you need an article there. I guess you're saying it's really important, right? It is. Well, what is it? Okay, what does that mean? Food, money, or useful materials. How about just aid to those who are suffering? Well, true, but we're not talking about anybody. We're talking rich nations, poor nations. Several people. No, that's incorrect word choice. It's more than several. Several is more than a few, but less than a lot. It's, 10. There's no number to it. It depends on what you're talking about. But it's, in a natural disaster, many people, or a lot of people, lose their homes, properties. What's the difference? And loved ones from unavoidable casualty. You're not using the word casualty here correctly. A casualty is a death. Right. And as a result, become emotionally battered. Now, you do this a lot. You're using vocabulary that's good, but you get as an examiner, when I read that, you're saying, oh, she put that there because she knows the phrase and she wants to use it, and it's a good phrase, good collocation, but it's not appropriate in this instance. Emotionally battered, battery is caused by people doing things to other people, and, traumatized. And, yeah, what's the point? Then they become emotional. You're using that incorrectly, right? Helping them, comma, especially children, comma, now you're doing this list thing again, like you did here with food, money, useful materials, providing camps, food again, toys, etc. Never use etc. in IELTS. Will definitely restore their hope and happiness. Keeps them from suffering, sure. Will it make them happy? Will it definitely restore their happiness? I don't know. You're just saying that. I don't see any. It's unsupported. I mean, I guess you're using that to support what? The service to humanity. Very strong support, because it's unclear and not worded properly. For example, the donations by this is not a country, it's the United States of America, for victims of the recent Australian bushfires. Now, these were actually, yes, they were quite tragic. 10 people lost their lives. Thousands lost their property. But Australia is not a poor country. Australia is a rich country. So, and it is very, very far away from the Caribbean. So, don't use examples. I mean, that don't fit what you're talking about. And just like in the previous paragraph, your example needs to come after the exact thing that you're talking about. Okay? So, how did the children, this example needs to talk about provision of camp food and toys, providing hope to children, okay, or especially people, but you don't mention any of that. In conclusion, social service, of course, that's why it's aid, but is it the best source of aid? And we need a comma in here. Not beyond it's suggested that the United Nations plural, the UN, is constantly make donations. Well, this is off the point. To ease the pain of the large suffering in these countries. Now, what countries? Again, this is about times, specifically times of natural disaster. Not all the time. That's the thing about a natural disaster is you don't know when it's going to hit. It could come at any time. It could never come. But when it does, who's responsible for cleaning it? Is there a responsibility to help people outside your own country? And you address it more of a general, it doesn't answer the question in times of natural disaster. Providing hope. Your second point is not supported very well. It is supported more than the first point is. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's right, because I'm in this mode. Your grammar is very good. There's very few mistakes. It's very accurate. Some complex sentences in here could have been handled more carefully. There's some awkwardness there, like in will. I mean, why will should be is. And your word choice, as I said, you're going to lose marks for a lot of high-level, uncommon vocabulary used incorrectly. Just because you know the word doesn't mean you should try to use it if it doesn't fit. Very common thing that people do when learning how to write IELTS papers. I'll just put as many big words as I can if it fit them. And then referencing and use of connectors. You've got a lot of these and thems that aren't clear of what these we're talking about or aren't needed. If you don't need the pronoun, don't put it in there. There's no more word count in IELTS. You don't have to put extra words in there. And a lot of times, it's quite obvious that you don't need it. So, example, okay, we'll just take anything, really. Okay, like, these developed nations could accommodate needy countries in their expenditures. You don't need in their expenditures. Because, it can accommodate aid to the needy countries. Yes. We don't need that last part. And it gets confusing because who are they? Who are their expenditures? The needy countries?